Hey guys, welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today, we're going to be talking about the San Francisco 49ers and their offseason plan I've laid out for them. So if you guys do enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit notification bell notified when I post next. Let's get into this video of the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, it's getting bittersweet. This is the second and last episode of the series. We obviously have just the Kansas City Chiefs left, and then all 32 NFL teams I would have done offseason plans for. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this series. I'm going to be doing it every single year. So cuts and or trades, they're currently negative $5 million. So the first cut we'll be doing is Jake Brendel, their starting center. He had a 64 PFF grade this past season, 42 pass blocking, 71 run blocking, 1 penalty and 2 sacks allowed. He's an okay starting center. I wouldn't say he's the main force behind that run game, but he definitely helps. You need to improve and get rookies on those rookie contracts. This team, once you're in the Super Bowl contending a tier where you're paying a lot of players a lot of big money because they're the franchise players, these kind of guys are just really, they're the fine players that, on any other team is going to start. You can't afford them. And Jake Brendel's going to be one of those guys you have to cut. It's an unfortunate part of the business, but you can save $4 million cutting Jake Brendel, getting back into the positive. I'm doing it 10 out of 10 times a week. Then we're also cutting starting right tackle Colton McKivitz. He had a 65 PFF grade, 56 pass blocking, 68 run blocking, 2 penalties, and 9 sacks allowed. Definitely the weakest link of this offensive line. He was not an ample replacement of Mike McGlinchey. It was kind of like he was the backup to Mike McGlinchey. They didn't have a backup plan, so they started Colton first season. And, he held up. They went to the Super Bowl, but they definitely could have used more help when it comes to, protecting Brock Purdy in that Super Bowl. As we saw, that's what kind of ended the game, was, not having good enough protection. Too much money for bad return. 9 sacks allowed is not good for a starting right tackle in the NFL. He's definitely not a starter for at least this team. We got to move on from him and get better, get younger and cheaper through the draft. That's exactly what I did. Next, we have our restructures as well. So almost all these players I see being on the team in the next 2 years. So I'm going to restructure every single one of their contracts. Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel, Eric Armstead, Fred Warner, George Kittle, Tavarius Ward, Javon Hargrave, and Christian McCaffrey. I don't see him moving on from any of those players. Opens up $84 million of cap space this season, restructuring all those contracts. That means we have $90 million of re-signings for a team that just went to the Super Bowl. Insanity. So that's what you get when you have a rookie quarterback. I mean, a quarterback on a rookie contract and a 7th round contract at that. So the first thing we'll be doing is franchise tagging Chase Young. He had 12 tackles, 10 sacks, and 20 run stops. He put up solid production post-trade. I don't think it's really worth a multi-year contract, especially for this team. But I want to do, since we do open up that $90 million of cap space, might as well use a good amount of it on a player who knows the team, knows what the expectation is, and you use him one more season, you let him walk after this upcoming season, where your money's to be a little more tight. Not worth a long-term contract extension yet. Again, maybe he proves me wrong and has a really big boom season, but I'd rather tag him and let him walk. If he has that big boom season, cool, we win the Super Bowl. If he doesn't, cool, we let him walk no matter what. A full season in the new scheme will be good for him and his development. Again, he will be a number 2 and number 3, even sometimes, on a championship caliber team. That's exactly what you want if you're chasing on for your career. Is win that Super Bowl early, cash in the off season, and you're good. You're good for the rest of your career basically. Then I'm going to be re-signing Javon Kinlaw as well. He had 16 tackles, 4 sacks, and 15 run stops. He became a solid rotational D tackle. Wouldn't say he's worth a multi-year contract. He's more pass rusher than run stopper right now. I guess now, he's this is his second contract, but it won't be too expensive to retain for a 1-year deal. You have the pitcher coming back with us. We're going to try and run it back, go to the Super Bowl. All the pieces are still here for multi-year contracts. We want you back. You played really well for us. Probably the best season of your career as a former first-round pick. Come back to us. Try and make it run it back. And I think that's why you'll be able to get him for a little bit cheaper at $3.5 million. I think Javon Kinlaw could get as high as $4 or $5 million this offseason. So I think 3.5 to come back to the 49ers is pretty fair. Then that means in free agency, after the tag and signing, we have $67 million in free agency. And the first free agent I'm going to be signing is Chukwuma Okorafor, or Chuck Okorafor, the right tackle from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He had a 60 PFF grade, a 61 pass blocking, 63 run blocking, 8 penalties, and 2 sacks allowed this past season. He's been a solid NFL starter most of his career. He definitely had the worst year of his career and got benched. Now, they did also draft Broderick Jones in the first round, which definitely did help them move on from Chuck Okorafor. But he's definitely still a starting right tackle in the NFL. Again, worst year of his career is 8 penalties and 2 sacks. That was better than what Colton McKivitz gave you. Just straight up, that's better than what he gave you. He can come in with almost 4 full years of starting experience. You're not gonna be able to really find that for this price point in free agency. And again, you can have that hey, come to the 49ers, play really good for us hopefully this year, try and win a Super Bowl, and go get that big money extension next offseason once you're on a more national stage showing off your talent. Gave him a $6 million contract. I think that's fair what he was making. He made 7.5 this past season, so I think, take a little bit of a cap hit because you got benched for a rookie. You had the worst year of your career, come to the 49ers, take a pay cut, regain that value in the next offseason. Then we'll be signing Eddie Jackson from the Chicago Bears. He had 33 tackles, an interception, and 7 stops this past season. He's a vet option at free safety. His better years are definitely behind him, but I think he can come in and compete for a championship. Currently, you have because you had Talanoa Huafanga. Who was their other safety? I know his name, but it's not coming to me right now. Their free safety was Deshaun Gibson. Deshaun Gibson, that's who it was. So Eddie Jackson replaced Deshaun Gibson. You then have him and Talanoa Hufanga at free safety, strong safety. We saw it work with Jaquan Brisker. I think Eddie Jackson can come in, be a veteran, a valuable veteran for them. Maybe he needs a new scheme, a new location, new change of scenery to hopefully unlock another couple of seasons of good play. But he's not gonna be the number one option like he was back in 2018, 2019 for the Bears, and he won't be too hard to get. He's gonna be cheap. Gave him a $5 million contract to come in, play free safety for a championship caliber team, and try and win a Super Bowl. Then I'm going to be bringing in Sione Takitaki as well to play Sam linebacker. He had 47 tackles, an interception, and 24 stops this past season. He's a great run defending Sam linebacker. Sometimes he plays Will as well, but this past season, you had JOK at Will and Sione at Sam. So I think he can come in, play Sam linebacker, play over Oren Burks. I think he is better than Oren Burks. He finally gets his big payday. Obviously, it's only a 1-year deal because, again, we have a lot of money this offseason. So to use it on these bigger contracts to sway free agents to come over here, but also only give him a 1-year deal. Gets $6 million. He caps off his elite linebacker core. You then have Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, and Sione Takitaki. There's no linebacker core in the NFL next season that would even rival that linebacker core. It might be hard to pry from Cleveland. Sione's been very vocal. He wants to stay in Cleveland for his career. Now, the real question is, can the Browns pay him? And are they going to want to pay him, right? Because the JOK extension is going to be in the works this offseason. Do you want to invest a lot of money at linebacker? I would think so, especially homegrown talent you want to invest in. So I think it's going to be hard to pry from Cleveland. But $6 million for 1 year, again, to try to come in and win a championship, I think that's something that you could definitely pry away from Cleveland. Then we'll be signing Stephon Gilmore as well. 62 tackles, 2 interceptions, 15 stops in 2023. He's still a really good outside corner at 33 years old. This is not the best form we've seen Gilmore in. Obviously, he won DPOY in 2019, but this is still a really refined version of an aged veteran who's not really lost a step. He can come in, he helps solve the team's biggest weakness at corner. I think that's still, the true option for your cornerbacks. Right now, you got a bunch of guys who are okay, but Stephon Gilmore comes in and solidifies a option for number 1 wide receivers. You can pay him more than anyone else can pay him at this age. I think he's worth probably about $9 to $10 million. You throw a couple extra $1 million at him, get him to sign for you. Again, try and win a championship. Put up these walls around these weak parts of your defense. Sam linebacker, safety, corner. Maybe bring in a defensive lineman as well, because obviously, I think that this defense needs to get a little bit more improved because the offense is doing its job. The defense, there's a couple holes that I think need to get filled. Hopefully I filled that in free agency. Then Phil Haynes, the guard from the Seahawks, he'll be coming over. 52 PFF grade, 59 pass blocking, 54 run blocking, 6 penalties and 5 sacks. He's a vet guard that has had better years. I believe he's 28 or 29 years old. Definitely the worst year of his career. He's going to be cheap. 6 penalties and 5 sacks is not good for an interior guard, but hopefully playing next to Trent Williams can clear a lot of that up. You can take him from a divisional rival, which is something you always want to do when you're, if you're the Chargers, you want to take from the Chiefs, right? If you're the Texans, you want to steal, good, role players from the Colts. Like that's just what you want to do. So I think that Phil Haynes is a good role player for the Seahawks. He can come in and start for you day one. He starts at left guard next to Trent Williams. I think it's a good move for both sides. Pay him $3.5 million to come over and be that starter at left guard. So we're entering the draft with $40 million in free agency. So you still have more money to go and sign these 1-year deals. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to build through the draft basically. And in the draft, as you can see, we do a lot. So instead of drafting at 31, I saw the draft board and both JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix were all available in this mock draft at 31. I think there'd be a lot of teams calling the 49ers and the Chiefs to trade up and get that fifth-year option. And one of those teams I think would be the Las Vegas Raiders. They give up a second, a third, and a fourth. Well, the second and fourth is a this-year pick. The third is a next-year pick. I think that's pretty good value for trading up to 31 for a quarterback. And I think the 49ers would do it in a heartbeat to get more guys on the roster. They don't need first-round picks. They need a lot of picks to fill out depth and future starters for this team. So at 44, I'm grabbing Kingsley Suamadi from BYU. He's a 6'6", 315-pound developmental right tackle. He did play left tackle and right tackle in college. I don't know if he'd start day one. I mean, we signed who do we sign? We signed Chuks Okorafor to play right tackle for a year, and I think he can hold it down for a year. You bring in Kingsley, you sit him for a season. Next year, you go in fully expecting Kingsley to be your starter at right tackle, and you let him sit for a year and learn the system. I think that'd be very valuable for him. Again, he played both left tackle and right tackle at BYU, so maybe he can also be a Trent Williams replacement. But I'm gonna bet that Trent Williams played really good this year, so if he just this, don't worry about left tackle right now, right? Worry about Chuks Okorafor is a right tackle. You need a future plan at right tackle past this season, and maybe Okorafor doesn't play good, and Kingsley has to start. You need a solution at right tackle day one. Kingsley's that solution with a lot of developmental upside to maybe become a Pro Bowl talent guy. Then at 63, I'm going to grab Rook. I know how to say it. I just got to say it slowly. Rook or Horo. Jesus, Rook from Clemson. I know how to say it. I watched a YouTube video of them saying his name, and I got it down. Now I can't do it when I'm actually recording. But Rook from Clemson, he's a versatile rotational D tackle. He's a run stopper as well with a good amount of pass rushing upside. But I think you can have Javon Kinlaw and Rook on the field at the same time and not lose much when it comes to both pass rushing and run stopping ability from your starters. He has a wide frame to take up those run lanes, which is exactly what you want as a run defender. Javon and Rook are good rotation to Eric Armstead and Javon Hargrave. Again, Javon Kinlaw, more of a pass rusher. Rook, more of a run stopper. That's exactly what Eric and Javon are. That's what they do. And I think that both those guys can be really good rotation guys for the guys who are going to be starting. And I think Rook probably could play a good amount of minutes year one and get a good amount of run stops, man. He's a really wide body guy. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes probably a little later in the draft. I think I overdrafted him a little bit. T'Vondre Sweat was right there. But I think for what they need, I think Rook is a better fit. Then at 94, I'm grabbing Tyke Smith from Georgia. He's a third-round pick in my opinion. They rate him a little lower. Again, I don't go solely off PFF. I build my own rankings. And I think Tyke is one of those guys that's definitely in the top 90 guys that I would draft. Tyke, great coverage guy in the short yardage. To me, as of right now, he lacks that true deep field free safety speed, like the top end speed. So maybe he plays more of a strong safety since he did play free safety, strong safety, and slot corner in college. But I think Tyke, when it comes to short yardage, when they're on your side of the field as a defender, I think that Tyke can come in because you're not really throwing 60-yard deep bombs. You're throwing more 25, 30-yard post routes. I think that's where Tyke could really be valuable. And in red zone plays, I think he'd be a really hard hitter who has great sideline speed. It's just that the deep part of the field is what I worry about. I think there is a run defending future for him, but he's definitely more of a coverage guy right now. He had snaps at slot corner. So if you want to play him at slot corner for a good amount of his rookie season while he's gaining those abilities at free safety and strong safety, you can. But I think it's a-okay with him to come in those short yardage downs and do what he does best. Then I did overdraft right here Isaiah Williams from Illinois. I think he might go day 2, and I think he would go in the very last couple picks of round 3. So I overdrafted him a little bit. But Isaiah Williams from Illinois, he's a really good slot and gadget guy. I think him and Deebo Samuel have a lot in common. But I think Isaiah Williams could also play the role of Jawan Jennings pretty damn well. He has some outside potential. I've seen a couple, plays with Isaiah Williams. I'm like, okay, if that ball's thrown a little better, he actually has a good chance to try and get it. And I think Brock Purdy throws a better ball than his quarterback at Illinois, who is currently, I believe, an undrafted free agent projected. So Isaiah Williams, 5'10", but he plays smaller, which is not good. But I think he does have some outside ability. I wouldn't play him as an outside wide receiver. He's definitely more of a slot gadget guy. But if he had to run a couple routes a game, he could do it. He could do it and be a threat. Then at 113, grabbing Ben Sinnott from Kansas State. Ben, one of my depth tight ends, I think could be a really good tight end, especially in this system. He's a good receiving tight end with good run blocking as well. Reminds me a lot of George Kittle. Now, when I did my tight ends video, I said he's more of a 2022 Greg Dulcich, and Evan Ingram receiver, and I stand by that. I think high end is George Kittle, but what I expect is a Greg Dulcich type of guy where it's 400 yards and a good run blocker. That's what I'm excited from expecting from Ben Sinnott to be his absolute cap. You can't always say everyone's going to be an all-pro George Kittle. I think Greg Dulcich is a pretty good comp for what Ben Sinnott can turn into. I'm trying to see. Yep, high end George Kittle. That's the note I wrote down for him. His teammate Cooper Beebe, though, at 132, I have a lot of respect for Cooper Beebe. He's a good starting level guard in the 4th round. You can't really get that in a lot of drafts anymore. Is those really good depth guards and tackles, and when it happens, you're really happy because it's like, awesome. We got a guy who can actually start for us. He's had snaps at over half the offensive line position, from left guard all the way over the right tackle. He let up only 2 sacks in the last 3 years. He's probably a day 2 pick, not a day 3 pick, as they have him in the 4th round. He's probably gonna be going in round 3. I have him rated higher than most of these like mock draft simulators and NFL draft buds. I have Cooper Beebe rated a little higher, and I think that he can be a pretty good starter in the NFL. Then Kamani Vittle from Troy at 176. You guys know I love Kamani Vittle. Another guy that's a smaller frame, but bounces off tackles really well, like CMC. If CMC misses time, or if he needs like a drive off the field, I think that Kamani Vittle can come in and play in replacement of CMC really well. He had 1,000 yards after contact this past season, 94 missed tackles, 19 carries of 15-plus yards. That's exactly what this offense does with CMC. I think Kamani Vittle is smaller, but he does a lot of the same roles as him. Then Josh Wallace from Michigan. He had the best year of his career this past season, which is exactly what you want to do going into the draft. He went from a multi-touchdown, like he let up multiple touchdowns a year, to letting up 0 touchdowns in Michigan this past season. He's a 6 foot, 190 outside corner. Can be another guy they develop on the outside. Whether it's Diamador Lenore, whether it's I'm trying to see what Ambry Thomas is something of Ambry Thomas, Diamador Lenore. Like, it's another guy, 6 foot, 190, has the ball skills, doesn't let up big plays really as much anymore. Another guy that I think could not, I'm not gonna say steal, but could be a guy that stays in the roster for 4 or 5 years. Then at 214, grabbing Khalid Duke out of Kansas State again. Kansas State has a lot of those guys in the late rounds that I really like. Same with Illinois. Duke is a good run defending edge with a good amount of pass rushing prowess, but I'm bringing him in to mostly be a run defender on 1st and 2nd down, because Chase Young, while he is definitely a starter as a pass rusher, he needs to get a little bit better at run defending. He's not bad, but like if let's say Chase Young misses a game, I would trust Khalid Duke to play that exact same role as him. He had 6 sacks last year, pretty good. I don't know if they'd actually draft him though. He's definitely more of a 3-4 outside linebacker, not a 4-3 defensive ends. As you know, the 49ers play 4-3, hence why you have a Will, Mike, and Sam linebacker. But I don't know. I would definitely need to be. I don't know. I don't really see a lot of undersized defensive ends make it in the NFL long term. But Khalid Duke, I like his run defending. I really do. But I think he's more of a 3-4 outside linebacker, and maybe that's something that they wouldn't draft because of that. Then at 215, Darius Muasau from UCLA. Again, another linebacker I'm pretty high on late in the draft. Mike linebacker at UCLA. He can be a good backup or rotational player next to Fred Warner and in replacement of him. He had 15 coverage stops, 50-plus tackles. Didn't let many receptions get past him once the ball was on the field. He always wrapped up guys. He did miss some tackles, yes, but it was not as bad as it looked. A lot of those are just the running back just played better. Like, there's snaps that you can do everything technically right, and the other guy just beats you. And I feel like that's what a couple of those Darius Muasau broken tackles were. Is that the running back just had better leverage, push him on the ground. It happens. Then at 249, I'm taking a shot in the dark. Okay, let me try it. Let me get this try. Xavier Gadlin. I butchered that. Gadlin from Liberty. It might even be Gadlin. But the Liberty guard in the 7th round. He had snaps at every single offensive line position. So great versatility in the 7th round. Mainly an interior offensive line and right tackle backup. Again, in this 5th, 6th, 7th round, I'm not expecting any of these guys to start year 1, 2, or 3. But if they need to come in for, if a guy gets hurt for a game, if a guy, needs to drive off, if you need a 6th and 7th man on the offensive line in the red zone, that's what I think the 5th, 6th, and 7th round need to be used as in the NFL draft. He allowed no sacks this past season at Liberty. That's pretty good. He has a good frame to build muscle on. I believe he's 6'5", 308. He was the last guy I drafted. I think it was 6'5" or 6'4", 308. So he has a pretty good size to build frame on at guard or center. Again, played some right tackle snaps as well, so another guy who can swing over the right tackle if need be, like if break in case of emergency. I think he probably will make the team. That's exactly what you want, as a guy who can make the team as a backup everywhere. But I really like this draft. The trade back, you get more picks. You get guys that are gonna play day one, and guys that could play next year or the year after. You do the guys leaving because of contracts or guys retiring. But if you guys enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. I know it's crazy to see a team that just made the Super Bowl and it's paying all these players have $90 million, and I still have $39 million I didn't use. So it's probably $28 million unused by the 49ers. Whether they want to roll that over to next year's cap and make the cap even a little better for them next year, or if they want to go out and sign Mike Evans for a season, sign DJ Reader for a season, sign the best corner, like L'Jarius Sneed for a season, sign the best offensive lineman for a season, Tyron Smith. Like, whatever they want to do, completely up to them. But I decided to leave that and roll it over next year because this team has a lot of cap. It's a lot of cap. But if you guys enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe. Hit notification button to know if I want to post next. I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.